It's Hollie's Hotspurs back with another one. Chatting all things Tottenham, we're second to none. Special guests every time, if it's win, lose or draw. The passion is high like Harry Kane when he scores. Or when Lloris makes a world-class save. We got Højbjerg running the mid every game. Settle down, stick around, share your thoughts with the panel. And make sure you're subscribing to the channel. Coys.
Hello and welcome to Hollie's Hot Takes show, where actually tonight we'll be talking about some transfer dealings. Now, I did think that there wouldn't be a lot to talk about after having my meltdown midweek, but it seems we've actually decided to do something. As you can see, I have transferred myself, but Harry Winks is still here with me, which he's still at Tottenham Hotspur at the moment. Touch wood, he is not going anywhere, but welcome to the stream. I hope we are all feeling good. I mean, we have a running order to go through tonight, which is especially the ins and then the outs. And we have a lot of outs to talk about. Alan is in here already. Good evening, Alan. How are you, my friend? Are you happy with the dealings we have done so far? I still think there's probably room maybe for one more inning. That would be quite nice if that was to happen. But I'm happily and pleased at the moment of the business we've done. I mean, if you flash back to last week where I was having a meltdown because we seem to have done nothing in the transfer window. Oi, here he is. Look, Dad, I've made sure your favourite person's still about. He's taken pride of place over there. But yes, we've got to get down to business. So first of all, let's obviously talk about the innies. And as Kellen has said here, an innie. Let's talk about the innies. So obviously, first of all, a player I am very, very excited about. I mean, I must admit, I haven't really seen him play much, but then again, I have heard some good things about him, and that is obviously, wait for me to absolutely butcher his name, and that is Kuleveski. Now, he is obviously predominantly a winger on the right side, but he can play across the front three, basically, in any of those kind of attacking positions, which I think is something we highly need at Tottenham. Obviously, we'll get into the outs later, but we lack a creative player. Now, he is a winger, but if he can play in a central role and can, that is hopefully something that can maybe bring him some creativity to the side, because we have missed that. Not little Jack corner there. He's still there. He's not going anywhere. Yeah, Kuleveski, I think I'm very excited about. Obviously, I've seen snippets of him play, and obviously the snippet he said that I was most pleased about is obviously his little statement when he was asked, what do you prefer doing, assisting or goal scoring? And he came up with, I don't mind, I just like to win. And I think the fact that he said, I just want to win, makes me feel a lot happy, because we have a lot of players that necessarily do want to win, but don't necessarily show it. So the fact that he's got that kind of passion right from the door and the off coming into Spurs is something I'm very pleased about. What else? Hey, Chris is here as well. Hello. We're just talking about Kuleveski, which I haven't managed to butcher his names. Addition by subtracting with the outs, TikTok, who's coming in and replace them. Angel, I'm glad you're not the only one, because I know we have done a lot of good business so far, and I must admit I am pleased. But seeing those outs, you obviously want a couple more coming in. So we've just spoken about obviously Kuleveski. He is only 21. It is a loan option, so obviously that's quite nice. If he doesn't really perform to where we think he should perform, we could obviously boot him back basically. But there is an option to buy. I think the option to buy is about 29 mil, around that kind of area. At the moment, he's on loan for 8.3. So that's not bad. I think that's a good bit of business. I think he's still young. Obviously, then we have the other player, who is our creative playmaker now. It's a good question. I mean, Kuleveski, I've spoken about it. Obviously, he's predominantly a winger, but he could play in that cam role. So he could maybe be that playmaker. But we also have another geezer. Oh, Alan, watched the video of Kuleveski. All left foot, but likes to come forward, likes to press as well, which is a bonus not having a lazy player. Agreed. We'll obviously get onto the outs, but it's nice to have a player that's obviously here and wanting to be here. But as I said, he can play in that central role if need be, slotting the balls through. So maybe he is our creative caller, so to speak. How many new signings thought it was 4? Now, it's currently 2 at the Mo. Obviously, we've got Kuleveski, and then we obviously have Ben, I'm going to butcher his name here, Ben Tanker as well, who is a centre mid. He's apparently a box-to-box, so he's not necessarily that creative player, but I think he has more aspects of going forward more so than Højbjerg and Skip. So he will be an interesting addition. It just allows us to have a bit more to play around with in the middle. I mean, he is also only 24, which isn't too bad considering it's bringing the age down a little bit. but he has obviously been at Juventus with Kulusevski, so there's links there already, which would be quite exciting if we want to play Kulusevski in the middle. So that's nice. And obviously we have bought him. I think the fee was around 20 mil. So he is actually ours. Obviously at the moment he's away. Hence why he's just done a video to everyone on Twitter of him saying, hello, I'm excited to join Tottenham, which is quite nice. So that's another interesting person to add to the mix. Like I said, only 24, he's ours. But I think for me, Kulusevski is definitely the one that I am more excited about. And that kind of leads us on to obviously the outs. Now I have a thing rolling along the bottom. Hey, thank you, Ravi. Cheers, mate. We're looking at the thing along the bottom, and obviously the big one for me is obviously Dele Alli. Now that is not set in stone yet. As Kalina says here, sell or loan Dele. Rumours Newcastle trying to hijack Everton's bid with offering to take him on loan. Now, at the moment, it looks like that he is having a medical at Everton as we speak, in London, obviously up north, not up north. But it looks like that's pretty much a done deal. But I am with you, Kelly. It looks like Newcastle are trying to undercut it with a loan. I think for me personally, I think it would be great just to cut our losses and sell him. I think the arranged fee, after you get rid of, like, obviously, if he performs well, this, that, and the other add-ons and stuff, it is around the region of about 40 mil. That would be like the highest price we managed to get for him. But regardless, I'm quite happy that it's 40 mil if that's the peak of it. As like we say, I think it probably would have best to send him out on loan a few seasons ago to obviously PSG was the main one that I was excited for him to go to, because he needs a new, not necessarily life, but he just needs a new refresh button, I think. And I don't think that's going to happen at Tottenham. I'm ignoring that, Ravi, please. So you're happy Ali has gone? I am. I think you need to remember all the memories he did to us. I think Dele Alli, when he stormed onto the scene, was incredible. But as time's worn on, I think age has caught up with him, and I just think he needs a new task. I think that's the sad thing about it. I think he's got too comfortable at Tottenham. He needs to go revitalise himself, basically. And I think Everton's the place to do it. Obviously, with Frank Lampard coming in, obviously they're talking about it on Sky, but it'll probably be good for him to work with Frank Lampard to try and get him back to where he was. And I know lots of people are saying, oh, if we let Dele Alli go, we'll regret it when we let him leave. But the trouble is, he's been at this club for too long. If he wanted to have that stint at Spurs again, you would have thought that he would have done it. Obviously, there's lots to talk about. I know we've spoken about it before, about the fact that he's had to have chop and change of managers, this, that, and the other. But again, I think it's time for him to go. 40 mil, you'd snap your hand off for that at the moment for a midfielder that's not really performing, I think. And he's obviously not within Conte's plans. So 40 mil, I think, is decent. And then obviously we've got some other outs going on. Dele Alli is obviously the biggest one. But our other outs are obviously Ndombele. Now, how many times have I spoken about Ndombele and the fact that I would like him to leave? Because he is pretty much a bad egg. I mean, we've spoken about him so many times. The man has talent, but he just doesn't decide to show it at Tottenham. I don't think the Premier League is probably best suited to him. The fact that he is obviously going back to Lyon, the club he came from, is quite intriguing. But the fact that he's going back there now, I think, is probably going to do both clubs a world of good. It's only a loan at the moment with an option to buy around the same region as what we bought him for. So if it does follow through and they do want to buy him in the summer, I wouldn't say it's too bad. Shame he couldn't do it at Spurs, basically. Early Ali was amazing. Dele got too comfortable at Spurs. Good shout. I think that's the thing, sadly, for Dele Alli. I don't think that he was really, not that he was ever pushed. I just think he lost, not necessarily the love, but he just, it was what it was. He wasn't pushed enough, I don't think, necessarily. But yeah, there we go. Hollie, what positions were you hoping to strengthen in this window? A centre-back or a right wing-back? Obviously, having that winger in with Kulusevski obviously strengthens the side, on the side, if we decide to play him on a wing. But again, I still think we lack a good right wing-back. But it is what it is. Obviously, Adama slipped through the net, which is a bit annoying considering Tottenham came in and undercutted it for 5 mil of the asking price. But then when Barcelona came back in, you can't really compete with Barcelona, can you? So it is what it is. Maybe it was a blessing in disguise, because we've had lots of chats that maybe the Dama wasn't necessarily the player for Spurs, isn't necessarily good enough to join Spurs, especially not necessarily because of what Conte could do with him, but just his end product. We have too many players in this squad that have no end product, and to have another one, I don't think would have really helped. So for me, I think a right wing back would have been excellent. I don't think we're necessarily going to pull through with that now, but it'd be quite nice to see an addition late on, obviously, because we've spoken about only 2 ins and only a couple of outs, which is obviously a lot more than the ins. Please listen to Streamlabs. If you are enjoying the stream, please make sure you subscribe. So yeah, that's obviously 2 big major outs with Dele Alli and Tanguy. Like I said, it's not necessarily, well, it is Deadwood in the sense of Dele Alli. With Tanguy, I think it was just a bad apple. And it kind of brings the whole squad down, especially what happened, obviously, when he stormed off when Conte brought him off that time. So I think it's just done both partners a world of good to get him out of Tottenham, to get him back to playing football. And then if Leon are like, yeah, we're buying back, we haven't really necessarily lost much, just time, really. And then obviously in the Domblé, we've also shipped out Gil. Now, this is a funny one for me. Just asking, is it Spurs' lack of ambition that has made some players turn you guys down? I've always said many times that this ambition comes from the top and trickles down, and I still stand by that. But the fact that this transfer window, we've decided to get rid of some of those problems makes me a lot happier. I wouldn't say it's a lack of ambition from players, but when you're thinking to yourself that the chairman wants top 4 and not necessarily a trophy, I could kind of see where they're coming from. Tony, the Delhi train is leaving the station, sad face. I think it's time, Tony. I mean, if it was on the other foot and it was Harry Winks on the station, I'd probably be in the same boat as you, Tony. But sadly, it's run its course, I think, for Dele Alli at Tottenham. We won't forget the good times, but I definitely won't forget the bad times. Anyway, obviously, Gil for me is a strange one. Bringing him to the Prem, and then obviously giving him cameos, it's clear that he's obviously not up to scratch just yet. He is still very young. But then shipping him back off to play in Spain where he's proven, I just don't think it really helps anyone. It's just going to show the world that I'm great at playing football in Spain. I think a better idea would have probably been either trying to ship him out in the Prem, which then many argue say, well, is he going to get minutes in a team in the Prem? I don't know why we just didn't do what we did with Skip and send him off to the Championship. At least then he's playing English football to strengthen himself up. He's not going to get that in Spain. I mean, Chris is coming in with, it shows that we relate, Chris. He's coming in with the same sort of thing. Had a loan at the Prem or lower leagues. It's the only way he's going to learn how this style of football is played. Because let's be honest, in England, style of football is definitely different to the style of football in Spain. Harry Winks would turn into Messi in Spain. So that kind of just says it all. So I think in that regards, I just think it's a very strange move. But then you've got to have teams in the Prem and lower ranking sides to want a Brian Gill. Maybe it was too late in the day. Maybe it was more of a panic loan. I think a loan will do him a world of good. I just don't think it will really propel him as much in the Spanish league, sadly. Yeah, that's a rather strange one, I think, for me. It's interesting, though. What else have we got? Who else have we got? We've obviously got Lo Celso, that's obviously hot off the press at the moment. That was literally about 10 minutes ago that Gio's obviously gone on loan once again. And I think it kind of shows that Conte isn't messing about. And actually, our board are actually listening to him. Jason Bell, I thought we should have loaned Gil to the Championship club as soon as we got him. At least he'll have a better chance to play. Exactly that, Jace. I think that's the thing. I think it's baffled a lot of people that we've sent into Spain, where he's proven already. He's not really going to, I say beef himself up, but it's true. He's not going to get kicks at the ankles or this, that and that, because I feel like the pace of the game in Spain is nowhere near the pace to say as even the Championship. It's more rough and tumble in the Championship, and it did skip a world of good. So I think it would have done Gil a world of good, but it seems that we aren't the people for the job. We don't know what's going on. That's why I feel like it's more of a panic loan. I think. I don't think a lot of thought's really gone into that kind of loan. It's interesting. It is interesting. It's interesting to see that lots of people feel the same way. But obviously, we also have to talk about, we've spoken about Gio. I think it's another one. Get another player that isn't necessarily within the likes of Conte's idea of play. He's not really get many minutes. Obviously, we've seen that. He just isn't up to scratch. So shipping Gio Lo Celso, I think, again, is a very good thing to have done. Like I said, it'd be interesting what happens there. I don't think there's any option to buy. If there is, that'd be quite interesting. But again, I think we've done well in a sense that we've managed to get players off the wage gap. I think I read something earlier. I think we've saved about 430k in wages per week, which is ridiculous. So that only sets up for good things. Delhi having a medical with Everton Romano has said that it's pretty much a done deal then. I'd say I think it's run its course. I think the time is up, I think, for Dele Alli as a Spurs player. But hopefully Frank Lampard can get something out of him. I'll probably be kicking myself, but I don't think he's ever going to get to the heights of where he was. I just think there's a lack of hunger. Maybe Frank will get something out of him, but I think there is a lack of hunger within Dele Alli. Again, if the club were a bit more proactive at the time when he wasn't necessarily at his best and you could see it slumping off, would have sent him out on loan then. We could be talking about a different Dele Alli, but I think it's gone on for too long now. But there we go. I think it's interesting. It's very, very interesting. Like I say, I'm very critical on the board, and I was halfway through last week pulling my hair out. But the fact that we've obviously got these players that are like most are deadwood in terms of obviously Dele Alli and obviously the likes of Tanguy being a bad apple, Lo Celso not being up to scratch, and obviously Gil, bless him, just isn't up to the mark just yet because of his age. I think they're all good outs. I'm very impressed with the way that Conte has been ruthless and has followed through with, I'm not going to play him. You might as well just take him out, put him somewhere else. And I think that's quite nice because I don't think we've ever seen that from Tottenham. And obviously getting in two players, obviously Bentancur I'm not too sure on because obviously he's a centre mid, box to box. But then again, we need some more options in the centre mid. Now we've got rid of Tanguy, Lo Celso and Dele. And obviously I'm just very, very excited for Kulusevski. I hope he lives up to what I'm hoping is going to be. It'd be very interesting. Who are Spurs getting in anyone? What do you mean? We've signed two already. Bentancur and Kulusevski from Juventus. So there are two at the mo. I don't know if there's any word about any more. I mean, somebody in the chat might be able to enlighten me to anything else. But I think that's all there is so far, which, again, is rather interesting. The fact that we've, again, left our business till late, but it doesn't seem to be panic vibes. Hollie, if you pulled your hair out, you definitely like we are related. I look like an egg, wouldn't I? Are they any good? I think Kulusevski has a lot of potential. I'm holding my hands up. I haven't obviously seen a lot of them, but words coming out that Kulusevski is, I mean, he's only 21. And he's got a few assists already. He hasn't started many games, but what he has done when he's on the pitch is obviously exciting to see. And he's got good links with Bentancur, who has actually played, I think it's 18 starts already for Juventus, and is prominent. He's had 3 assists. I just like his get up and go with Kulusevski. He's saying the right things. I know that's needs to be backed up with actual footballing ability, but I think getting a player in like Kulusevski, who I think we need, who can potentially play across the front three, is obviously very, very handy. Especially if the likes of Sonny or Kane or that get injured, we can move him in from the wing and put him in. So it's just very versatile in the sense of Kulusevski. So yeah, I'm going to say optimistic. Hopefully the fit Conte start. I think so. I think, like I said, he's been very ruthless. I think he's telling the board that I'm not going to play these players. You might as well get rid, whether that be through getting rid or put them out on loan. And I think that's been evident from today, obviously, with the amount of outgoings. And then when you put 2 and 2 together, and you're like, yeah, they never really played from Conte. And if they did, they were just cameos or they've just got bad attitude. So I think that kind of highlights that Conte wanted them out. And hopefully the 2 we brought in are obviously Conte signings as well. But again, only time will tell if that's the case. But I think it's a very decent window so far. I mean, I'd be more pleased if we managed to nip in someone else, obviously with the amount of outgoings that have happened. Be nice to bring in a bit more for some squad depth, so to speak, because I go on about squad depth like nobody's business. So it'd be quite interesting to see if we do manage to bring in another player in that kind of sense. And I also did want to quickly say as well, I have somehow got monetized thanks to you guys watching my videos. So I am very, very, very thankful for that. And there will be membership thingy-mabobs coming out soon once I realise what they do. So please keep your eyes peeled for that one. But yes, I mean, who's everybody? I mean, there's 8 of you in here at the moment. Who's everybody like most pleased about? Are you more pleased about the outs, or are you more pleased about the ins? I think for me, I'm more obviously happy about the outs, considering those that have decided to oost out. Oost out's a new one. Woo! Yes, it's a madness, Chris. It is an absolute madness. Thank you. Like I say, it wouldn't have been achieved without you guys watching. So I'm very, very thankful for that. Thank you. My knowledge on transfers is a bit more lackadaisical, though. I need to do a bit more homework on them, as you can tell. But thank you so much. The outs, yes. I think everybody is more happy with the outs. I think that was the main thing we need to address. And it's something we've needed to address for a very long time. So to finally see it being happen and put into motion, I think makes everybody happy. We've just got to continue that, I think. Obviously, happy with the outs. The top three are wanted to move on. I'm moving on. I think that's the thing. I mean, Jason, I'm going to hit you with, I'm going to ask you the question, who was that? I'm guessing it was probably Dele, Tanguy and Lo Celso. I'm guessing. I'm assuming. Because I think they're the top. Obviously, the Gil one still baffles me in a sense of where he's gone on loan. But I'm assuming the outs that you're most pleased with are Dele, Tanguy and obviously Lo Celso. Because Lo Celso was driving me nuts the last couple of games. So, yeah, I think it's nice the way that Conte's been listened to, that kind of sense. Ndombele, Lo Celso, Dele in that order. Oh, Fairs. I would probably say I was Ndombele, Dele, Lo Celso. I'd probably swap the last two round just because I think Dele Alli's been great on me for a little bit. I don't necessarily think it's necessarily his fault to an extent, and then I do. So, yeah, I agree with that. I think those are the top three. Not necessarily in that order, though, Jason, but I agree. Gil is one for the future, so I don't mind going out on loan. We need top four. Kulusevski is a proven player, is improvement on Gil. That is true. It's definitely an improvement on the pitch. I agree, Alan. I just think the loan move for where Gil has gone, I think, is a bit bizarre. Like I said, I think it was a last minute kind of happening. Not that I'm saying not much thought has gone into it, but it's more like, right, it's not in Conte's plan. We've got Kulusevski potentially coming in. We need to get rid of Gil. Okay, where does he like to play? Okay, Spain. They probably want him in Spain. Let's go stick him back there. I don't think there was really much thought in that kind of sense of his progression. And I wish Dele the best. Oh, I agree as well. Like I say, I don't think he'll rejuvenate where he was. His greatest times at Spurs. But I definitely think Frank Lampard can ignite a bit of fire back into him. 100%. Big up Hollie, the outs are fine, but Doherty is still at the club. I'm not happy with Gil going on loan to Valencia. Should have been a championship club. I think we've all kind of said the same thing, Hamza. I think we're very taken back why the whole Gil thing to Spain. It's really baffling. But again, I think it's just a last minute thing. And yeah, Doherty's still at the club, which is, yeah, we can't have it all. Matt Shockety, as expressions calls him. Yeah, he is a bit shocking. Kulu reminds me of Tanguy a little bit. He's really good with the ball and a good passer. Nice. And he can be versatile, Ross. This is what I'm very, very happy about. He can play pretty much anywhere across that front three. So that would be quite nice to obviously switch things up, give the opposition something to think about. And obviously, if Matt Shockety is playing, at least he's got Kulusevski in front of him to hopefully not cock up a pass to him. So that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, no, it is interesting. Oh yes, someone to get the ball to our strikers too. Exactly, because we have missed that. It's normally Harry Kane trying to pass to Harry Kane. So yeah, I think obviously having Kulusevski is the one signing. I know there's only two, but he's definitely the one signing I'm very, very, very pleased about. Obviously, Ben Tanker looks like a solid choice as well for only 20 mil. He's only 24. He seems more of a box-to-box kind of geezer, other than a person that can be versatile. But again, just gives us another option if we don't want to play Skip and Højbjerg. Maybe we could play Ben Tanker and Skip, or the vice versa. Hollie, do you think the new players will play or start against Arsenal? Oh my days, that is a question. I potentially see Kulusevski starting 100%. I think Kulusevski can play in the middle in a 3-5-2 as well. Yeah, I think he can play all across the board. I think he can play both wings and in the middle. So again, it's using the versatility of him, which I think is the best kind of signing, I think, for me, because again, we haven't had that choice of being able to play those creative players in and amongst it. Obviously, with Tanguy not performing on the pitch. And then CDM switch out with Skippy and VAG. Yeah, I think he can just boss it up and down. Maybe I think it's not. I don't think it's like a bad side. I think it's something that we've possibly needed, especially with the outs going out, with the Celso going out, Tanguy going out, Delhi going out. We have definitely needed another CM. Whether he plays naturally as a CDM is another thing. Maybe that's where we can push Skippy on. Or maybe, like you say, just rotate those three amongst themselves. It's just nice to have some other options rather than the likes of Lo Celso coming on, kebabbing someone, or Dele Alli putting an amazing work rate but not managing to produce anything with the ball, or Tanguy producing a moment of magic and then being sloppy and not getting back. So it's quite nice to now not have to have those worries anymore when they come onto the pitch. Squad depth has been an issue all season. I think it's been an issue for a number of seasons. I always said that there was a stage where we had quality and not enough squad depth. Now we have too much squad depth and not enough quality. I think that's the real issue. We haven't really found that right balance yet. But obviously, kicking those guys out that I would say are deadwood or bringing the side down or not developed enough to then bring in two players that I think we definitely need, especially Kuleveski, I think is something to be optimistic about for obviously the summer. When we hadn't signed anyone, then the guy from Lewes turned us down. I was like, low as I could get. So two new players and getting rid of Dele and the Dublin made my day. I agree, Alan. I was having full-on meltdowns last week. I was calling the egg of all eggs. But I'm very pleased to see him put his finger out of his bottom, basically, and listen to what Conte wants. I mean, the day's not over yet, so something else could happen. But again, I think getting the deadwood, or those that aren't necessarily up to scratch at the moment, out to not bring the squad down or the morale down is nice to see. So I agree with you on that, Alan. That Lewes guy's an egg, so I won't listen to Ollie Tammer. Utter tit. Do you think Conte will get what he needs being at Spurs? I wasn't hopeful, if you asked me this question last week. Now seeing what we've done in terms of the outs, I think there's more to come. I think this is to keep Conte happy in a sense that they're doing what he's asked them to do, which I didn't think was possible. But we're seeing all different kinds of things. So I think so now. I think, like I said, I think at the start of the transfer window, I said if he doesn't ship out some of the players he doesn't want, or doesn't at least get in one or two signings, then he'll be fuming and he would walk, which I said last week. And obviously nothing was happening last week. So now to see this, I'm okay. You've left it a bit late, but you've done it. So I can't be too ticked off about it. Paratici works differently than a lot. He has a bunch of things going on and then picks them out of later on. Yeah, it's a bit like Builder, isn't it? Nothing happens and you're on tender hooks for a couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden, bang, you got your extension built. It's a bit like that in the sense that we've been waiting for something to happen, still waiting, and then out of nowhere, bang, something happens. So he's had the chicken on the slow cooker, I think, and now it's finally cooked. Proud of the people at the protest today getting on the BBC News. I mean, yeah, I think there's obviously everybody knows my stance on the matter, and a lot of people haven't spoken about it, and that's up to them. I fully agree. It's everybody's opinions. But I think until about obviously this morning or about lunchtime, nobody still really knew anything was going to happen. There was obviously the rumours, which were obviously with the two signings pretty much done, but we had no real indication that obviously the outs were going to happen. So why not make a stance on it? So agreed. If that's what people want to do, go for it. And obviously if that hadn't have happened, I think I'd probably be in the same kind of boat. Probably want to go and make my mark. But luckily for the egg, he's out of nowhere managed to turn things around. So again, I can't be too ticked off because he's listened and said, look, you need to back Conte, which I said last week, and he has in a sense because he's got the people out he doesn't utilise, and he's brought in two players that will potentially fit in his system. So you can't be too ticked off. There was a protest outside the training ground, yes. Were you surprised that none of the top four clubs didn't come? I was absolutely gobsmacked that no one came in for Matt Doherty. Couldn't believe my eyes. Yeah. We'll leave that one for another day, Alan, I think. Lowell, who's going to take Doherty? Lowell, I don't know. I think I might just put him on Facebook Marketplace and hope for the best. I really don't know. I think he was on holiday with Dyer and Kane. So he's really cemented himself in the Spurs squad. I don't know. I really don't know. I think we've just got to hang on to him. Like I said, I don't think we can work miracles. I'm actually gobsmacked that we've actually managed to get people out and players in, to be honest. So I think maybe asking for Matt Doherty to be gone was probably maybe a little bit too far. I don't think we could manage that too. Parachisi's only just finished slow cooking the chicken. I don't think he managed to slow cook the beef as well, but it is what it is. Chris is loving life. But yes, no, without waffling too much, it's not too bad. I don't know if there's any news about anything else. Obviously, we've got a little while till the transfer window slams shut. I'm assuming the Dele Alli one is pretty much done. I know there was news that Newcastle were trying to undercut it, but it is what it is. The beef, love it. Yeah, Matt Doherty's beef now. Do you think summer window will be better for you guys? I think so. If you've seen the wonders that we've somehow managed to fathom up in the space of, well, the last transfer day pretty much, who knows what the summer transfer window brings. I think for me, the main issue is getting rid of those players that weren't within Conte's belief or Conte's system. To have those gone and not have them ruining the morale of the changing room is quite pleasing. And also the fact that we've brought in 2 players that potentially fit within Conte's system, to think what we could now get in the summer. I don't want to be too away with the fairies and think that we can bring in the Dybala again. But yeah, why not? Big up, Hollie. Thank you, Barnabas. Thank you. Welcome, my friend. How are you, my friend? Are you pleased about the January transfer window? Because I'm quietly happy about it. That's the major one. The January window is much tougher. I agree. And to see what we've done, considering my meltdown last week, in the sense that, like I said, Parachisi was apparently trying to build the this extension, and we weren't really seeing anything till, obviously, like all builders, a couple of days before it needs to be finished, done. I'm very pleased about it. Summer window will depend on a lot of things. We can claw away into Champions League. That is a big, big if. Obviously, we talk about making ourselves appealing to players. I don't think having a fancy stadium anymore and a lovely training ground really promotes itself to what players want to come here for. It is definitely Champions League football. I think getting those 2 players in definitely makes our squad better, and getting those players out definitely improves the squad. It's just whether we have the stamina to obviously keep advantage of this couple of games in hand. I know they're slimming down a bit, but that's still quite a big advantage to have. And also, you still have the North London derby. So it could happen. Hollie, can you explain to me how Emerson Royal gets into the Brazilian team? Right, I'm going to be very frank with you here, Alan. I think, Emerson does the hard bit of finding the position, making the correct run to get into the position ready for the cross. And he can't do the easy bit, which should be in every wing-back's, repertoire, is putting a cross in. And a man just can't do it for love or money. So, I don't know, Alan. I think he's still young. I'm not going to downbeat him too much. But he is very frustrating. I agree. But we've just got to hold on to him, I think, because he's obviously a lot better than Doherty. And Lucas somehow can't make it into the team. Agreed. I don't know how he can't. He's a beautiful, bold Brazilian egg. I love him to pieces. Champions League and Conte are the pool. Yeah, we've just got to get into Champions League, Chris. That's the only thing. But I'm feeling more optimistic now. Like I said, with the Deadwood gone, or those players that aren't within Conte's system, or those that need to obviously stock out a bit in the likes of Gil, it's good. We've talked about, obviously, Gil's move is still bizarre, but it is what it is. Not being in the Europa Conference League will help you in the Prem to get into the better position. Yeah, I feel like the world works in mysterious ways. Maybe, obviously, having that COVID outbreak, as bad as it was, not being able to fulfill our Conference League match, maybe was a blessing in disguise. Now, I know there's a lot of people that are going to say you're a hypocrite because before you said, no, you wanted to win a cup. I still wanted to win a cup, but now it's done and dusted. We can get top 4, like you say. And remember, we were only 5 points off the Champions League last season with all the drama and issues. Agreed. That is very true, Ross. I like the way there's a lot of optimism tonight. It's nice. It's nice to not be negative. or not feel negative. Still think we are body too short. Yeah, Lee, I think this is. I said this earlier. I think it's because obviously we've had a lot of outs, and don't get me wrong, they're brilliant outs. I'm all for it. But I think we need another body. I think I've read that obviously Conte has stopped Harvey White going out on loan, which shows that maybe Conte will use him, or maybe Conte is worried that we're not going to be able to bring in somebody else, so he'll need Harvey White on reserve. Yeah, I agree, Lee. I mean, how are you feeling? You're feeling quite content about it? That is a full spot tough fight these days, especially with everybody up and coming. There's lots of, obviously, Everton doing their business. Very impressed with them. I always say they're the northern equivalent of Tottenham. So it'll be interesting to see how they perform now they've added their few additions. But there's lots of teams in the Prem that have added their additions. I mean, look at Villa. Madness. Please do what Streamlabs say. If you are enjoying the stream, please subscribe so you know when I'm live next time. Obviously, Hollie's Hotspurs will be back next Monday from 7 p.m. I have a couple of fancy guests lined up. We've got Anthony Costa making a comeback to the channel. I'm very happy to have him back on. Might ask him if he can sing a song for us if we manage to go through to the next round against Brighton, which is obviously at the weekend. We've also got Mickey Hazard returning, which will be exciting, and a few other guests lined up for that show on Monday. So make sure you have subscribed so you get notified of when it beams live. But yes, what's Lee said here? Happy with the outgoings, but as I say, we need a striker or a right wing back. I think we've needed a striker for God knows how long, for as long as I've been alive. I think get Defoe back in. Man's done at Rangers now. He's back in the fold. Get him in. Thank you, Ravi. I appreciate that. Thank you. Like I say, we're now monetized, which is a madness. So I'm very sorry if you have to put up with adverts now, but please watch them because they help. But yes, I think the general consensus of everyone is that we're all very pleased about the transfer window so far. And it's not going to shut soon. We've got a little bit of time, a little bit of wiggle room to maybe bring someone in, like Lee says, maybe a striker or a right wing back. We might be being a little bit greedy there, Lee, but you never know. Like I said, Paratici has slow cooked the chicken. Hopefully I'll move on to the beef. Don't be sorry, it means you made it. Thank you, Ross. JD is signing of Sunderland, apparently. There's my bubble popped. Costa coming on, you can actually talk about positive things. I think every time I've had Costa on, we've lost. So we need to touch wood. I think the last time I had him on was for the Man City Cup final. And we all know how that went. Hand on your heart, do you think we can make top 4 and keep Conte? Oh, where's my crystal ball, man? I need to get my crystal ball out. Oh, I've lost my headphone. Please don't keep this. I think I'm going to be optimistic because I'm feeling a bubble of optimism tonight. So yeah, why not? Go for it. Like Kuleveski says, he can score, he can assist, he just wants to win. That's what I'm going for. Bit of Kuleveski vibes. Thank you, Ravi. Appreciate that. Could really do with at least one more player in the window. Can't see any more incomings though. John, I think we're all feeling the same. Like we said, we're all pleased about the outs. We're very, very pleased about the outs. But we've just left us a little bit thin. Maybe a little bit thinner than we'd quite like. Like I said earlier, Conte's kept Harvey White from going out on loan. So maybe Conte knows there's no more coming in. But I'm just pleased we've listened to Conte. Charlie Eccleshare and Ali Gold both saying Spurs might make last second move. Or who are we going for? It better not be Dybala again. Can't live through that again. That was a whole summer of my life wasted. With a few hours left, Paratici might want to put the chicken in the microwave. Yeah, he might want to. That's very true. It's probably like shrunk, I think. But it is what it is. Right, I'm just waffling on now. So I want to say thank you to everyone that has tuned in this evening. Obviously, like I say, Hollie's Hotspurs is back next Monday from 7 p.m. You made top 4 in the past, so you can do it again. So it's not that impossible. Fine wisdom of words, Ravi. No idea who. I ain't got a clue who that is either. But yes, make sure you're here Monday, 7 p.m, same time, same place. Winksy will be here as well. He's not going anywhere. So please make sure you tune in, set your reminders, all of the good stuff. Tell your friends, all the rest of it. Like I say, Mickey Hazard, Costa will be making an appearance again. Well, hopefully we'll be talking about a win against Brighton in the FA Cup. Here's the crossing our fingers because we need a cup this season as well as top 4. But I am at the moment very pleased with this transfer window. It could have gone a lot worse. It could have gone maybe a little bit better, but it's January. And like they all say, January transfer window is the hardest. So I want to say thank you to you all again for watching. Do what Streamlabs says, because that would mean the world. And until next time, come on, you Spurs.